We'll start with our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you all for coming. Let's start with City Council minutes from March 14th.
I'll make the motion to approve those.
Motion's been made by Lynn to approve the March 14th City Council minutes, seconded by
I'll second.
Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Any additions or changes to the agenda?
Nothing.
If not,
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
motion been made by Donnie to accept the agenda as presented, seconded by
I'll second.
Kyle. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Well, let's start with the presentation of the 2021 audit. Ashley Meager, did I say that right? Mager? Maher. Well, that, you need to change that spelling.
I know. Some people have.
Ashley is here from Slender Winter and Company, and she is going to present that. You can come forward if you'd like, Ashley, but you're fine where you are.
So I am going to present the results for the 2021 audit, which was completed in the past couple months. So starting off with, so I'm going to be going through this document that was handed out. Essentially what it is, it's a short down version of our full audit. So our full audit is like 55 pages between a couple of reports. And we shortened it down to about 20 pages. So we tried to go through the most important things you want to hear about, financial results, of course, the things we're required to tell you all as far as our audit standards go. So we will start off with the page that states the audit process and opinion across the top. So a lot of you have probably heard this before, but basically this explains what we do with an audit. So we get the city's records, we do a number of inquiries, procedures, and testing. And really through all that, we're ultimately just looking to issue an opinion. So for the city, we're issuing an unmodified or clean opinion. So that's the opinion you want to be issued. It means no issues or errors or misstatements arose as a result of our procedures. And required communication. So these are things that we're actually required to tell you all. So overall, the audit went smoothly. We have a positive working relationship with management. Bob always gets us what we need for the audit, and things have always gone really smoothly. Nothing unusual noted in terms of recorded transactions, no unusual accounting policies or treatments. And then, in addition, we're also required to let you all know that there are no significant estimates that go into basically calculating financial information, the financials, and the financial statements. Controls and compliance. So items noted here, same as in the past. We had just 3 audit adjustments related to the items that are noted there. Nothing too crazy. I think Bob has really cut down those audit adjustments. I think in the past we've had quite a few. Now we're just down to 3. So that was easy for us because we like to hear that, because that means we didn't have to do a lot of work as far as adjusting the trial balance that we got from the audit. So that's always good to hear. Internal controls. Yeah.
Your invoice will be less then. Thank you.
Well, I don't bill this one, so I think that would be a question for John. So internal controls, the city, we always note that the city has lacked proper segregation of duties. Pretty common for a city of this size. However, there's mitigating controls that kind of lessen any risk related to that. So Bob, as well as the deputy clerk and then the clerk and the treasurer, we have some segregation there related to that. So it's not all like you have a ton of risk related to that. There's just some. You mitigate that by having those additional positions. And in addition, the council reviews disbursements and financial results, things like that. So the idea is that things would be caught if there were any issues or concerns. And of course, you have your annual audit where we look at a number of transactions. We also must note to all that we actually prepare the financial statements on behalf of the city. Bob does review these, and we go through these obviously with him tonight. And then that pretty much takes care of controls. That very last column, we state Minnesota legal compliance there. So each year we were required to look at various areas of compliance with Minnesota statutes, so laws and regulations that the state puts out. Through that, we looked at a number of different areas, and we did not have any non-compliance noted, so no findings there, no issues as far as that goes. So that was all good news. Any questions at all? So we will take a look at the numbers. Taking a look at the financials, we'll start off with the general fund. So that had an increase in cash fund balance of about $284,000, ending cash fund balance of just over 1.2 million. So we'll take a look at these numbers in more detail over the next few pages. Starting off with receipts. So receipts for the general.
I have a question on that
Yeah,
page.
absolutely.
It says 2021 budget. Should that say 2022 budget?
2020, we actually look at 2021, that's what we report in the financials, to kind of compare how the city did in actual compared to budget.
Okay, so that is a 2021 budget then.
Correct, yep, exactly. So if you look at that, they're pretty comparable to the budget. The disbursements were slightly under, which you maybe like to see because you didn't have as many expenditures as you expected, and receipts were relatively similar, a little bit over budget, but that's always good because you want more money
Yeah.
coming in. So taking a look at receipts in more
Budget better.
detail. Receipts overall for the general fund increased about 68,000 compared from 2020 to 2021. Most significant changes were seen in licenses, permits, and fees. That increased about
It's always in the budget
38,000.
if you don't spend it.
Intergovernmental receipts increased about 46,000. And that intergovernmental is state aid, federal aid, any local or county grants. Main reason for the increase here this year, the city actually received small cities assistance from the state of Minnesota in 2021. That aid was not dispersed by the state in 2020. So that's the main reason for the increase. Any questions at all on the receipts? Taking a look at disbursements. So disbursements for the general fund decreased quite a bit, about 668,000 from 2020 to 2021. Really, most significant change was capital outlay. So that decreased about 639,000. 2020 street improvement project was allocated to the general fund during 2020. So that project is grouped in capital outlay there. So that's the main reason for the decrease there. Other than that, disbursements fairly similar from year to year for the general fund. This next page, each year, kind of as a measure of how the general fund is doing, we take a look at the spendable or unassigned portion of the cash fund balance that I mentioned a couple pages ago, as a percentage of budgeted disbursements. So for 2021, the unassigned cash fund balance had about 730,000, and that percentage sat at about 80.25%. So a slight increase from 2020. The city doesn't have a policy of where it kind of wants this to, where you want this to sit at, but a lot of governmental entities will shoot for at or above 20 to 50%. So we're sitting well above, what a lot of cities kind of make a goal toward to work towards. So a healthy fund balance, I would say there. Cash for the general fund overall increase from 2020 to 2021. That's at just over 1.2 million at next couple pages, we talk about the city's other governmental funds. So taking a look at those, the fire fund had just a slight decrease in cash fund balance of just under 11,000, ending cash fund balance of just under 133,000. Non-major capital project, that's the Robert Park Fund, and that increased about 30,000, ending balance of 104, just under 105,000. Operations in those two funds pretty similar from year to year. That third column, the Third Avenue North project, that fund of course was new in 2021 with that Third Avenue North project going on. That had an ending balance of at 12/31/21 of just over 192,000. Other sources noted there, that $1 million, that was a transfer from the electric fund. I believe the Third Avenue North project was pretty much electricity related, I think, or some of it was like power poles and things like that. So we did make that transfer from the electric fund to the Third Avenue North project fund, so that's that big other source. Taking a look at a couple other items here, so non-major debt service, that's the city's TIF district funds. So that decreased about 13,000 with an ending balance of just over 4,000. Operations pretty similar from 2020 to 2021, with the exception of a new TIF district, TIF district 1-12 for the class development. Otherwise, the other TIF districts pretty similar activity from year to year. Non-major special revenue, that consists of a few different funds. So the EDA fund, the MIF loan fund, Minnesota Investment Fund loan fund, Small Cities Development Grant Fund, and then the American Rescue Plan Act Fund. Those overall increased to about 45,000, an ending balance of just over 229,000. Really, most significant change for those funds as a whole. American Rescue Plan Act dollars of about 7,000 coming in. The city does have several years to spend those dollars, and I think in 2022 here you'll get another round of those dollars. So another round will come in and increase that funding. As you see fit. Like I said, the city does have several years to spend those dollars. And then just cash for those funds that I just mentioned. Sat overall altogether sat at 663,000, just over overall increase of 240,000. Any questions at all on any of those funds that I just discussed? All right, we're gonna go through the city's enterprise funds. We'll start off with the electric fund. That had an overall decrease in net cash assets of 991,000. That decrease primarily due to that $1 million transfer already talked about. So other than that, activity pretty similar from year to year. Without that transfer out, the electric fund would have had an increase in net cash assets of 87,000. So that was pretty much the most odd or strange thing. Obviously, the $1 million transfer out, but other than that, pretty similar activity from year to year. Golf course fund. So golf course fund had an overall decrease in net cash assets of about 120,000. Majority of that due to the golf course expansion project, of course. On the financials, we grouped all of that activity together. So we have the golf course activities and then the golf course expansion project all in one. But I did do a little breakout off to the right there. You'll see that golf course expansion 2021 column that kind of details what went through that golf course expansion fund. $150,000 transfer in from the golf course fund, and then $213,000 in disbursements for 2021. Probably something pretty important to note is that I think I made a note here. The golf course operations, excluding the expansion project, actually had an overall increase in net cash assets of about just under 93,000. So if you exclude those project costs there, really the golf course had a really good year at that $93,000 increase. Any questions at all on that? I should also mention not reflected there, there was a couple of loans to the golf course fund, I think it totaled like $200,000. Those aren't reflected here, although of course not reflected on the receipts and disbursements here. But that also is included in the golf course expansion, dollars that are sitting there. Stormwater, so stormwater had an increase in net cash assets of just over 3,000, ending balance of 18,710. Pretty comparable activity compared to the last few years, really, for that one. And then solid waste had an increase in net cash assets of about 1,700, ending balance of just under 168,000. Overall, increase in receipts and overall decrease in disbursements there kind of resulted in that increase in assets overall for 2021. Couple more pages here. Looking at cash for the funds that I did just talk about. Fairly similar from 2020 to 2021 with the exception of course the electric fund. Decrease in cash, that $1 million transfer that we talked about, I talked about on a couple different slides. Overall cash for those four funds that I just talked about got at just under $936,000. Last page, the city's debt. City has an overall decrease in its outstanding debt for the past few years, just paying off the debt that the city has on hand. That sat at about just under $294,000 at December 31st, 2021. Proprietary debt, so that red line noted there on the bottom one, will be actually paid off, or actually probably already has been paid off in 2022. And then that blue, the blue line, the top line, has maturity dates of 2024 and 2029. So a few years left on a couple of those, and that proprietary line theoretically would go away next year. The very last page has my contact information, but I would be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
So that MIF loan shows up as debt for us?
Yeah, exactly. So it's essentially it's kind of a flow through. So
Yeah.
the money came in from deed, and then as the payments are paid off by the business, they're then forwarded on to deed. So it's in and out, but it's also technically shows up as a receivable too.
Okay.
A loan receivable from the business.
So it's a receivable, we didn't get that money up front.
It's a
Or
grant
did
from deed, and then we loan the business the money.
Oh, money went out to the
Yeah.
business, got it.
Yeah, and the city does retain a bit of that,
Yeah.
obviously for
Right.
holding the loan on
Mhm.
behalf of Minnesota Deed.
Right.
But yes, that shows up as debt for the city.
Got it. Okay, so that's a majority of that government.
Yeah, it
Number
really
there.
is. It's quite a bit of it. I think there is looks like a improvement bond in there. And I wanna say the improvement bond, I can't remember if that's the one that matures in 2024 or 2029, but,
It's Robert Park in 24.
okay, perfect, so Robert Park. So essentially, after 2024, assuming the city did not issue any more debt, you just have a report sitting out there after beyond 2024.
Okay.
That stormwater bond is paid off, yes, in 22. We just made the final payment on it, so.
Okay, good. Any other questions for Ashley? If not, thank you very much, Ashley. Appreciate it.
If you have any questions in the future, like I said, my contact information is on it. Bob has my contact information, so happy
Okay.
to answer any questions.
Thank you. Moving on, next item on the agenda is part-time employees. We had that discussion here in the workshop prior. Any further discussion, any further questions, any further statements on that? If not, I would look for a motion either way, either to table it or to accept those increases or to go back and renegotiate or whatever.
Does that include
We can do
all
them.
of them or the ones that we
Thank you.
discussed?
Well, we could do the golf
I-
course clubhouse
yeah, I didn't-
separate if we want.
That's all I was asking.
Yeah,
Because we have 3 new hires at the golf course as part of that as well,
okay.
potentially.
So how many motions and
So
do you
let's,
want?
I would suggest doing the hires together if that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And then the rest.
well,
of
the 3 hires we
course.
could do together.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's do the pay increases first for the returning employees.
Returning employees, part-time public works, and new hires, I
Yep,
guess is
those
what I
3.
see.
Okay, so 3.
Let's start with the returning clubhouse employees.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I think we should take Mary's recommendation that we increase them according to the numbers she provided for all of the, I guess, golf course or clubhouse employees.
I would second that.
Motion's been made by Kyle, seconded by Jackie to take the pay increases for the clubhouse employees as presented by the clubhouse manager. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously. Secondly, for the 3 new hires down at the clubhouse, Bob, do you want to give us their names?
Elizabeth King, Jessica Lateral, and Brianna Haberman.
And so then the question would be, do we hire those 3 employees at the wages presented?
I'll make a motion to hire those employees at the wage.
Motion's been made by Kyle, seconded
I second.
by Jackie to hire the 3 new employees as at the beginning wage as recommended by the clubhouse manager. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Then the part-time city employee, Mr. Scribner, we're looking at the pay increase as suggested by his supervisor, Public Works Director, Eric Gaffke, from $18 an hour to $22 an hour.
I'll make a motion to pay the increase.
Motion been made by Jackie to approve that pay increase,
I'll second.
seconded by Kyle. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Show that it was carried on a 4-1 vote. Okay, recycling and cleanup day agreements with Morrison County.
Fire
Fire
department.
Oh, fire department employee policy. I'm sorry. Thank you all. Fire department employee policy. We have the fire department with I believe Lynn and Donnie, you guys were involved in that with our council members. Bob, you were involved in that. Have made some changes to the fire department policy. It was sent out to us all. We were able to look at it. It was highlighted in red. The changes were. Bob, or would you want to give us a overview of it?
Sure. Just a few sections that were added, the active 911 section on social media, security cards, department flow charts were added, different duties for officers, and then we clarified some hiring points as far as the system we use, kind of the general overall view of, is there anything else that I missed or?
No, that was
Well,
it.
that's everything
That was
we did.
everything.
Okay. Any questions or discussions on any of that from anybody? If not, we would have to approve that policy.
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made by Donnie, seconded by
I'll second it.
Lynn to approve the Pierz Fire Department employee policy. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Recycling and Cleanup Day, agreement with Morrison County. That day has been set, I believe, I'm going to take a shot at this, May 21st.
That's correct.
And it would be a Saturday at Pioneer Elementary from 8 to 10.
Correct.
As is, so no, nothing different there other than the date. I believe our citywide garage sales are going to be the 19th through the 21st.
The 18th, so it's
18th
Wednesday
through the 21st.
through Saturday.
Okay.
And again, we're teaming up with Little Falls. Their Convention Visitors Bureau headed it up last year, so you'll see Little Falls sales, but honestly, last year, I don't think there was a decrease in people here, so.
It was what?
There was not a decrease in the amount of
Okay.
visitors or customers here, so.
Okay. So do we need to approve those dates?
Yeah, and then also the recycling and cleanup day agreements, which would be separate. So two different
Yep.
motions total there.
Yep. Well, first of all, we have to approve the cleanup agreement with Morrison County, right? And then we have to approve the date.
Yeah.
So then we have to talk about the solid waste proposal. The solid
I'll make
waste
the
committee.
motion to approve the recycling and cleanup day agreement with Morrison County.
Motion's been made by Lynn to approve the recycling and cleanup day agreements with Morrison County,
I'll second. that.
seconded by Donnie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then the scheduled cleanup date, as I mentioned, May 21st from 8 to 10 at the elementary school.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made by Lynn, seconded by
I'll second it again.
Donnie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then solid waste rate proposal. You did have a solid waste committee meeting, and that's where the other thing came out of here as well. And the committee is recommending a a fee increase for garbage drive-by pickup of 50 cents.
Correct.
Any questions or thoughts on that?
So just one question, because I got asked that today. If a resident does not have garbage, if they opt out of getting any garbage, do they still have to
Yes.
pay a drive-by, no matter what?
Yes, and that's required by law, not by us. That's because we're a municipality over an X number of people, and I don't know what that number is, but we are over that. Everybody has to pay for garbage pickup. They can't opt out and say, I'm gonna keep my garbage in my garage. And that's
Well,
the reasoning behind it.
And what I was asked is they said they were gonna have a roll-off, a small dumpster brought in. I shouldn't say a roll-off, but one of those little ones that they come and grab. And they said, that if we do that, then we don't have to pay the drive-by. And I said, I think you still have to, but I wanted to bring it up just to
And they're
ask,
still
just to
paying, they're
clarify.
paying the drive-by, they're paying recycling, yeah. So,
So that is still there. Okay?
yes, now, are they, I'm assuming this is a residence.
Yes.
Okay, because if they're a business, then they can do the dumpster and it's different.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's the resident, so.
And that is a state law.
It's part of that grant we received for recycling funds. I mean, the grant for $4,000 from the county. We have to have a recycling and garbage system citywide, and it's beneficial to the contractor that they get, for sure, the whole city. They just don't get to pick and choose. But they don't have to buy a can, they
Well,
can,
they could do bags or whatever.
they can do bags or nothing, but they still pay the drive-by.
Right,
And what I was
Gotcha.
told today was that if I don't choose to do any garbage and I choose to have somebody bring a dumpster, whatever in, I don't have to pay the drive-by. And I said, I think that's mandatory, but I said I would be asking, so. Good to clarify to anybody
Yep.
that sees this now
yep,
knows that.
nope, no, and that is why, I mean, obviously, a lot of people would say they're gonna haul their own and then not haul it and do all those things, but, yeah. Okay, so, back to the proposal. Any other questions on that? That's a good question though, Donnie. And that's, it's a good reminder for everyone.
We're still very competitive in the county. I've checked with Royalton and Little Falls
Yep.
for a 64-gallon can. I feel like our contractor is second to none, honestly, for going back and picking up extra garbage or whatever it takes to get the job done. So we're very fortunate, I think.
You want me to make the motion?
Either a question or a motion or one way or the other, yeah.
I would make the motion that the solid waste pickup fee would be increased by 50 cents.
Motion,
Second.
Or drive-by fee, I guess. If you want to call it that.
motion's been made by Kyle, seconded by Jackie to increase the solid waste pickup fee by 50 cents. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Bob, do you have anything, any department reports?
Just kind of working on stuff that was on the agenda tonight. Public Works is kind of transitioning from snow to sweeping and patching. Mary's been actually down in the clubhouse quite a bit today, getting the water turned on and getting that ready to go. The cold temperatures, average opening is usually right around the middle of April for a golf course, and it's probably looking like it's going to be that or later. So, yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else.
A reasonable goal might be around Easter, Good Friday, middle of April, April 16th, I think is Good Friday. Park complex expansion, still working through the irrigation install bids. We did get a couple of them. Sent one back for some changes, and I'm gonna have to send it back again for some changes. Hopefully, at our next council meeting, we'll have those set for approval. Working through that. We have begun to move dirt out there again. So we're working on what would be 15 and 16 up on top of the hill, so we're continuing to move dirt there now again. We talked about the MCCR grant, LCCMR grant. That is still up in the air. There's a couple of bills, one in the House, one in the Senate. One we would be awarded our grant, one we would not. And there will eventually be a compromise on that. So we'll have to wait that out and see where that goes.
Is there timing on that, Dave, in terms of when they were meeting again?
The session ends at the end of May, so I think that's why they put that May 26th deadline on the next round,
Yeah,
just to kind of encourage that
Yeah.
action.
Try to do something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make a decision.
So. And who knows, I'm sure, I would assume that there's bigger things on their plates, like how to spend $9 billion. So who knows what they're gonna do. Any thoughts or questions? Anything else?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made by Donnie to adjourn,
I'll second.
seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you all.